Just like Dwight Eisenhower 75 years before him, Joe Biden did not go out with a bang, but a warning. It's not surprising. Biden is, after all, Eisenhower's grandfather. So in his final formal words to the nation, Biden touted some of his accomplishments, but mostly he warned this country of the fascist billionaire oligarchy that is taking hold and outlined what we should do to fix this democracy. I'm going to play a couple of clips from Biden's speech, so stick around for the ride because there are several aspects of the speech that are vital to our way forward. First of all, the danger of fascism taking over our democracy is so pressing that Biden actually quoted Eisenhower's warning, a warning that went unheeded. Watch this.
His farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote.
But this is the part that Biden left out. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. Biden is quoting Eisenhower for a reason. Everything Eisenhower said came true. Politicians rise to power by backing a bloated military budget that is far, far too big. The military holds misplaced power, both politically and economically. And this is why Eisenhower used the term military-industrial complex. He understood that once the economy is built around a military budget, you cannot even remotely begin to dismantle military spending without causing economic harm somewhere. Unlike Biden, however, Eisenhower did not leave a roadmap on how to contain the military-industrial complex. And sure enough, Republican President Ronald Reagan blew the military budget sky high. We've never been...
Things that give me great concern. And this is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. Just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to.
By going back to the era of robber barons and their abuse of corporate power, Biden is reminding the heartland that they should not be dancing to the tune of the corporate masters who are causing their economic vulnerability. He reminds them that one of the reasons they find life so frustrating is because everyday people play by the rules and get no reward, while billionaires don't have to play by the rules. Then Biden reveals how these billionaires are getting away with this through distraction, illusion, and the drowning out of truth by the communications infrastructure they own and operate.
I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy.
More than just revealing how and why this oligarchy is taking control of our democracy, Biden offers a roadmap out. Listen.
We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaigns contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year term limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office. The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute.
And sure, it's easy to criticize Biden for not putting this on his agenda. You'll remember he came in promising Supreme Court reform and did nothing but farm it off to a committee. But there's a more important point here. Democrats need a specific platform to run on that is going to both maintain and advance a progressive agenda while at the same time appeal to heartland voters, red state voters, and all those other everyday people who wrongfully believe the Republican Party has their best interest in mind. I said this before and I'll say it again. The political pundit class laughed out loud at Newt Gingrich in 1994 because of his contract with America gimmick. They kept laughing until Republicans took control of the House of Representatives for the first time in 40 years. And it's been neck and neck ever since for a reason. Republicans convinced everyday voters that Democrats only care for minorities and social issues. There's no reason Democrats cannot win these voters back by doing the same thing with progressive pocketbook issues, like promising a minimum tax on billionaires and their wealth, closing all corporate tax loopholes, lower income tax rates for the middle class, no taxes on minimum wage, family farm subsidies. And people like Robert Reich and Paul Krugman could add even better and catchier ideas, I'm sure. Personally, I'd like to throw out there eliminating all income tax deductions but lowering tax rates and see how that would fly. The point is, come up with proposals, test them out, even focus group them, but come out with a set of proposals because midterms are closer than you think, and we need an economic plan to run on. And yes, at the same time, we can add congressional and judicial term limits, no presidential immunity, but we have to start by putting out the idea that Democrats, and only Democrats, are fighting for the economic prosperity of the middle and working class. We need to make it so that everyday people laugh out loud every time a Republican tries to defend the job creators. Because if there's one thing everyday voters know, it's that none of these billionaire clowns are job creators. Just ask Twitter employees, or the people trying to unionize at Amazon, or the fact checkers for Meta. Joe Biden has gotten the ball rolling. It is our job to pick up the torch now and run with it.
Defense is close to the top and has status an out-of-box nominee. In the words of one of his sponsors, former Minnesota Sen. Norm Coleman is faithful to Trump's successful outside Mystique. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance wrote on X that U.S. had not won a war in 3 decades, had a recruitment crisis, and has Hexet is aggressively not more on same, and that's good. But Pentagon chiefs are not just required to understand guns and infantry, they have to be consummate diplomats stepped in policy who are able to defend dangerous tenfold that could tip into war. And they need to able to go twee to twee with greased Russian and Chinese defense supremes with years of experience. And it is also important for them to brief a president on whether he is obeying the law.